the other involves expanding kind of the philosophical base of solution-focused thought. Much has been made of Wittgenstein because Wittgenstein was very important to Steve DeShazer. But Wittgenstein was only one of many, many thinkers who has relevance to solution-focused thought and practice. And I think this part of this opening up the box so that everybody isn't asking the same questions about everything over and over again, and they aren't making the same assumptions over and over again, is to simply expand people's knowledge about the different ways in which one can think about solution-focused practice and about philosophy and about meaning and about language and all of this stuff that we spend so much time talking about, to just sort of open the box and just let whatever is in there come out, so that people have to make choices and have to find what best fits with what they're talking about, instead of narrowly talking about whatever it is they're in a language that they're supposed to use, as opposed to one that meets their purposes. And so that's the other thing I'm trying to do. I've been mostly writing about Kenneth Burke recently, but there are lots of others, other really bright people who have written about things that are relevant as well.
And what is it that you would say is relevant or interesting? If you would, summarize it or describe it a bit, what would it be?
Okay. Well, I think one of the things that makes Kenneth Burke, for example, relevant, aside from his assumptions about language and that sort of thing, is that he offers an approach to change. Wittgenstein doesn't offer any approach to change. Burke does, but he offers one that I think fits very well with solution-focused practice, and what he calls it the comedic approach. And by comedic, he doesn't mean funny, but what he means is kind of an awareness of how overwhelmed people are by the situations in their lives, and his sense of human nature is not one of these great heroes who dominate the world, and if you would only be strong, you could handle this sort of thing, but of a world that's confusing and ambiguous, and of human beings who are flawed and sometimes weak and easily overwhelmed by things. And he said you begin with this sort of appreciation of the human condition, and then you begin to sort out ways in which people can then deal with these situations that are so overwhelming, of finding ways not of eradicating their problems, but helping them better deal with their issues. And he used that in talking about social policy during the Great Depression and that sort of thing. Not how do we win the war on the Great Depression, but rather how do we just kind of muddle through this. And it seems to me that kind of imagery and that kind of thinking fits very well with what solution-focused practice is about. It's not about triumph, heroism and triumph, and you ride off into the sunset on a white horse or whatever, but that you are able to get from day to day to day, finding the resources that you need. And he wrote about that in the context of philosophy, in the context of literature. He drew on philosophy and literature, poetry, all kinds of things as sources for beginning to see what people draw on and how people are able to get by and do things. And I think the approach is strengthened when practitioners have an image like that of saying, when somebody says, well, so what do you do? If you don't cure people, what do you do? Of having kind of a humanistic image to project, to put their techniques in and see now. If we think about the world this way, then the miracle question makes sense, and that sort of thing. And so different people bring different different issues and different approaches to these various concerns that I think are central to solution-focused thought. And that's what I would like to open up and talk about.